Hi friends, this is Krish, the Urban Naxal. I'm called the Urban Naxal because I speak the harsh truth that concerns the common man. I do not stay with political correctness. Friends, what I'm going to say today is about the impact of lockdown. And if you are bothered by the harsh truth, if you are bothered by harsh images, ugly images, unpleasantness, pessimism, then this is a good time to turn off the video and go watch something that makes you happy. Because what I am going to speak about is not the kind of thing that is intended to make you happy. However, in the words of a movie actor, I would like to say, come with me if you want to live. I'm going to speak to you the harsh realities, and if you understand the harsh realities, maybe, just maybe, you will avoid making some mistakes. And maybe you will be one or two steps ahead of others in coping with the harsh realities when it hits you. Friends, right now the harsh reality has not yet hit us. We seem to be limping back into a normal economy. People may say, oh, the normal is returning. And I would like to give you one image to show you where we are today. Friends, I have seen cats fall out of high-rise buildings. So a cat, for example, can fall from a 10th floor, hit the concrete, slam the concrete, get up and run for 20 meters, 30 meters. And then it falls, and then it collapses, and then it bleeds to death. Now a person, if he sees the cat get up and run, he's going to say, oh look, the cat is okay, nothing has happened to the cat. But that's not the case. The damage takes time to come to the surface. But it comes. And when the damage comes to the surface, the cat is no longer able to run. The cat lies down and dies in a pool of blood. The bleeding is internal. The same thing is with our economy. We have suffered enormous damage. The bleeding is internal. The hemorrhaging is internal. People are hiding the hurt, the damage that they have suffered because they have dignity. Middle income groups have a lot of dignity. They don't like to show how much pain they are suffering. They don't like to show how much poverty lies ahead. They don't like to beg. They don't like to stretch their hands before others. And so, because of their dignity, because of their small amounts of reserves, they seem to be going forward without damage. But that is not the case. They have been damaged, they have been badly hurt. They are bleeding inside. I'm going to give you one more image, and then I'm going to explain how we are bleeding. How the entire economy, the entire Indian economy is bleeding. I'm not going to talk about other countries, but I'm going to talk about India. So, let me give you another image. There is a bus. India is a bus being driven by a driver called Narendra Modi. And this driver, one day when everybody was chilled and sleeping, about to sleep, suddenly slammed the brakes on this bus. The bus was going at about 80-90 kilometers per hour. He slammed the brakes on the bus. He stood on the brakes. So the bus screeched, skidded, tumbled 3 or 4 times and fell on the side of the highway. That is the situation. He thought he was going to avoid a collision with something else, or he thought he was about to go over a cliff. He says he was trying to avoid damage from COVID-19. But whatever it was, he stood on the brakes. The bus skidded, tumbled. Now what is the situation of the passengers? Some of the passengers have gotten up, have staggered to the door, and have started walking out of the bus. They seem to be okay. Some of them are okay. They may have suffered minor injuries. We will talk about what minor injuries means in a bit. Some others will go home, and they go home and lie down and then die because they had suffered internal bleeding in their abdomen or in their brain, and they will lie down and die. Some others are still inside the bus. They have got broken bones, but they will survive. Some others are still inside the bus and they have got spinal injuries or cracked skulls, and they will be permanently disabled. They will be paralyzed, or they will be brain damaged, or they will be blind. Things like that. Permanent damage has occurred. This is the situation of Indian bus today. We may say, oh, no problem, things will be normal, they will all recover. No, they will not all recover. Some of them have already started bleeding. Some of them are feeling the pain. Some of them are okay. Some people are okay. Many people haven't yet received the full damage. They haven't understood the full damage. They are in shock. When the shock goes away, the damage will become clear. Now let me stop talking with analogies and let me tell you what is the damage. Let me first speak about the middle income group. Let me not talk about the migrant laborers, the poor, etc., etc. Because we don't empathize with them. That's the main reason I don't want to talk about them. We don't empathize with them. We don't understand what has happened, how badly they have been hit. They were poor, they are poor, so it looks like, so what's the difference? They were poor to begin with, and they are still poor. And people don't understand, people don't empathize. So let me leave that part of it alone for the time being. Let us talk about the middle class. Let us talk about the upper middle class. People who seem to be comfortable, people who have cars, people who have credit cards, people who have enterprises, or people who have high-paying jobs. Let me talk about those people. Many of those people are severely hurt, are damaged. And let me explain how. To understand who has been hurt, you need to understand that some people had this lifestyle of high income but also high outgoing. They had good income and good income projection. Things, if they had gone on like they were going, they would be happy, they would be rich, they would be fine, they would be successful. They had businesses, they had MSMEs, small scale industries, they were contractors, they had films on the production floor, they had investments in tourism industry, in aviation sector, in automobile sector. They were well invested either directly or through the stock market. Some of them are bleeding. The people with high outgoings, people with huge loans, EMIs to pay, rents to pay, maybe salaries also. These are the people who are in grave difficulty. their income has vanished or their income has dwindled, and the prospect of their future income is also dwindling. They had made good projections. There may have been startups which had good revenue models. Those revenue models have been destroyed. Those revenue models no longer exist. And now they are suffering. There were people with good jobs, high-paying jobs. And now those companies have said they will downsize, or they have already downsized. There were people working for IT sector. IT sector may do well in the long run, but in the short run, they have been hurt. They have been removed from their jobs. They have lost their jobs. They have been downsized. Even during the lockdown itself, they have been downsized. There are people like that. There were double income, high growth, families, couples who were earning extremely well. Those couples have been badly hurt. They have been badly hurt because even if one of them has lost their job, there is an impact on their entire lifestyle. This is the kind of humongous amount of damage that has been done to people who have high outgoings. They have been paying EMIs for houses. There are people who were in the midst of a home purchase. They had paid 90 lakhs, 1 crore, etc. for a house that would be delivered to them, say in 2021 or 2022. Now we don't know. Builders may continue to give them false assurances and continue to take more money, and they demand more money from them. They've already given 80 lakhs, 90 lakhs. And some of that 90 lakhs, some people who have paid that kind of money, that money was from people's pensions or provident funds or borrowings, bank loans. They have mortgaged assets to borrow those funds. Some people have taken gold loans. They will not be recovering that asset. Those gold loans, they will not be coming back. Some people have taken personal loans. They will crack because of the harassment of the recovery guys. They are not used to harassment. They are not used to dishonor. They are not used to social shame and humiliation. People who are not used to humiliation, people who are used to standing strong and proud, will find themselves under enormous pressure when their own wife, when their own children start saying, "Hey, where's the money?" And the father finds that his pockets are empty. He is not able to support their lifestyle. He is not able to keep the car, then he sells the cars. He is not able to keep the house, then he tries to sell the house. Maybe his assets are not his to sell, they have been mortgaged for another flat. So there was a very high growth lifestyle. A lifestyle that was conducive to very high growth, very good economic growth. It was not a lifestyle with a lot of savings. People will not be able to pay their insurance premiums. Their premiums will lapse. People will not be able to meet their commitments, so many financial commitments, and they will face repercussions. They are facing repercussions. People will find that their rental income has vanished. Those who thought that they would get a good rental income from some real estate which they owned, they may find that their rental income is threatened, or it has vanished, or it is gravely going to be impacted. These are all the kind of things that are happening. This is the group whom I am referring to as the people who will walk out of the door of that bus and go home and lie down and then bleed. This is the class I am referring to as people who have suffered hidden damage. There is another class who may be relatively okay. Same middle class. Some guys did not have EMIs to pay. They had not taken loans. Some guys were staying in their own houses. They do not have rental outgoings. They owned the cars that they drove. They did not have loans. They did not have personal loans to pay off, or they were not substantial personal loans. They did not have huge commitments. These guys were not so impacted. Or were they? Maybe they were. The impact may come later. How? Because banks have been badly hurt. Bank recoveries have been badly impacted. And although the banks may not yet have reckoned with how bad their recoveries have become, after a month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, depending on how the government acts, depending on how RBI acts, they may bring their losses to book after a few months. And when that happens, that is when you will see bank failures starting to happen. You may see bank failures happening. Those who had invested in some sectors, aviation sector, hotel sector, travel and tourism sector, whether it was through shares or whether it was direct, someone who owned a hotel or someone who owned a gym, health and wellness sector, spas, they'll be badly affected. There are others like restaurant sector. It looks like they are doing well. Maybe they will do well. Maybe. But remember this, guys. If a restaurant gets 60-70% of its usual revenues, it looks like it's doing okay. But that extra 20-30% or 40% that it has lost, that is crucial. And without that, the hotel may run or the restaurant may run for 6 months or 1 year, run on losses because it has outgoings. And the outgoings will be larger than the revenue, and in the end it will fail. It may not fail today, it will fail after 6 months or 1 year when the proprietor finally gives up or the investors back out. This is how business failure looks. Malls were built on some kinds of projections. They may not meet those projections. Rents may be revised downwards. Footfalls will not happen even if they are opened. And the malls may fail. They will fail slowly. They will slowly empty, shutter by shutter, room by room, gala by gala. This is how failure looks. It is not an immediate death. It is like the death of trees. They dry up slowly. One branch dries up, then another branch dries up, then the whole thing dries up, and then the tree is dead. That's how it looks. So guys, what we are seeing in the economy, what we think is recovery, what we think is a return to normalcy is not a return to normalcy. Far from it. As for COVID vaccine, let's be very, very clear that there is no COVID vaccine coming for at least a year or more. No vaccine will come. The earliest possible vaccine, the front runner, is the Oxford project vaccine. And that vaccine is under trial, and it is going to be tested and tested and tested for the next 1 year. So you will have a vaccine maybe in August or September next year, in 2021. That is the best you can hope for. Clinical trials are being carried out. So a vaccine is not around the corner. It's not going to get done in 1 or 2 months. Stop deluding yourself. In this scenario, coronavirus is increasing. So let me again repeat, the bus driver slammed the brakes thinking that he is going to avoid the coronavirus. This accident, this huge accident happened because Our bus driver was anxious to avoid the coronavirus. He did not consult with anybody. He just slammed the brakes. He just slammed the brakes one fine day. He knew about it from mid-February. He knew about it 5 days before Namaste Trump incident, Namaste Trump event, where he gathered a couple of lakh people in Motera Stadium and brought Trump and a whole bunch of his supporters, his retinue, and hosted them. No masks, no social distancing, nothing. He knew then, 5 days before that event, he knew that this is a natural calamity, a force majeure. Finance Ministry had already put out a circular 5 days in advance, but he didn't do it. In mid-March, after the Madhya Pradesh government was toppled by BJP, after that, he suddenly stood on the brakes. He suddenly slammed the brakes with 4 hours notice to the entire nation. And we had this huge bus crash. And here we are. We had no time to brace ourselves. We had no time to position ourselves to suffer the impact, to take the impact. And today, here we are. We are a country who is internally bleeding. We are a country of people who are injured, bleeding internally, hemorrhaging. Don't be under any illusions. Things have to get a lot worse before they get better. We will talk about solutions. We will talk about how individuals can survive. We have already done some talking on that. Please don't book any flats in a real estate project, or please don't buy property for the next few months unless it is at a terrific discount. Big suggestion. Please don't buy property unless it is at a 50% discount, 60% discount on the prices that were prevailing in January 2020. You'll thank me for this. The second way to survive, if you have gold, don't mortgage your gold. Don't mortgage it, because you're not going to be able to free your gold. Don't take gold loans. I know there are advertisements saying take gold loan. Don't take a gold loan. Sell your damn gold. Sell your gold if you have to. If you need liquidity, sell the gold. Take its entire value. Now may be a good time to sell, because the prices of gold may drop. And they will drop because more and more people will tend to sell gold, because they need liquidity to buy food, to buy daily requirements, to survive from month to month. Those who have taken gold loans will fail to pay their gold loan, because the income projections that they have made while taking that gold loan will not work out. And then those gold ornaments will be sold by the company to whom they have mortgaged it, or by the bank to whom they have mortgaged it, and the prices will naturally fall. So guys, don't mortgage your gold. Please take the entire value, the full value of your gold, sell it, but don't mortgage it. It may be a good time to sell your fancy cars, your SUVs. It may be a good time to do that, because you may realize some good value. It may be a good time to sell your flats if you have a plan to use those proceeds to survive, because you may get good value. But the question is, will people be buying? If you get a good buyer at a good rate, decent rate, anywhere near market rate, great idea to sell, even at discount. Slight discount, slightly more than say 10%, 20% discount. Congratulations, good to sell. Good, go ahead. Sell it. Bail out, because tomorrow you may not be able to sell it. because a lot of flats will come on the market. A lot of flats will be sold at distress rates, and then you will not realize the value for your flats. So if you have the option to sell it, it's good to sell it. These are some strategies to survive. We will keep discussing more strategies. I am Krish, the urban Naxal, and I am your friend, your harsh and blunt friend. Jai Hind.